blockchain, tokenizing that, making the trading, et cetera, and training farmers in the practice and connecting the offset sale demand and supply, the supply being the farmers. And this is a huge area. I think there are so many opportunities, but compensate. The key word is compensate. If you say no here, compensate. If PepsiCo says, okay, we will de-emphasize cola because that's too much sugar and it's empty calories, you can't say, therefore, Pepsi-Cola is going to become a smaller company. You have to find new products, new services, new business models that will give you the income and a positive impact. This morning, somebody sent me a video from India of a startup called Goodfellas. Have you heard of Goodfellas? It's not the mafia movie that you might be thinking about with Robert De Niro. This is called Goodfellows, not Fellas. And it's a startup by a young Indian. He's about 28 years old. And can you guess what the startup is addressing? And Ratan Tata is the first investor and first customer of this new company called Goodfellows. Any guess what this is about? What is the problem this startup is addressing? Loneliness for elderly people. Ratan Tata says, I'm 84 years old, you have no idea. I might be a billionaire, but I am lonely. And there are so many young people, especially in India, who have no connection. Their families, India has a lot of migration, so my parents may be living somewhere else. Is a startup that is linking young people with elderly. And they just hang out together. So it's like a Tinder. The elderly subscribe, they pay, they choose the young person, and then they connect. They can cook together, they might go for walks together, they might watch Netflix together. Sometimes the young person might make the doctor's appointment or help shopping. But it's an enriching thing. And this has taken off in India. They are now expanding into multiple cities. And multiple families are connecting. And so there are, really need something, you go and confess, I have nothing to give you, but I need you. Can you please help me? Be honest. If you don't do that preparation, then we just think, oh, it's a good idea. That's why there are so many good ideas that don't get done, because there's ideas and then there's agents.
Thank you. And for example, in the first ever well-being budget they had in 2019 under the Prime Minister's unfortunately stepping down now pretty soon. Do we need these measures? I mean, measures that measure how policies and how policies have impact on citizens instead of like economic measures, for example. You're talking about charisma, about character, about specifically also what I liked a lot in your presentation today about fairness. But how much do we need? And my question on top of that, what keeps you up at night to be like, is there really enough time for that in today's world? Do we need more? Do we need governments and businesses to work closer together in this specific relation? And what is your...
Yeah,
that's a lot of questions. Thanks, though. They're important.
Another
hour of Subi.
I'll just take the one on measurement. I think measurement is super important. So we need better models, we need better methods, and we need better measures. And at every level, in the country level, at the firm level, and at the individual level. And Apple Watch is just giving us better measures of our sleep, of our breathing, or heart rate. I don't have an Apple Watch, but I know that. And it solved the privacy challenge by giving you your own data, and then giving you the power to decide, do you want to go see a specialist or not? So measurement, very important. We've just gotten started, and with digital twins and AI and sensors, I mean, this is now being used by the OECD since 2011. Every 2 years, the OECD roughly puts out this Better Life Index, which is multifactorial, right? It's about 11 factors: housing, education, concentration of, and then time for leisure, time for family. It's the first time that we're measuring how people spend their time. And I think this is very important, not for reporting. Firms need to measure, not just for reporting. That's too much with the ESG stuff. What you need these measures for is so that you can use that for guiding your investments, guiding your innovation, guiding your incentives, and guiding your future intention.
I think we put too much content to people rather than pushing them out for exploring what the world is all about. So together with our students, we travel the world. We select money in order to go to different places. But I think the most important movement that happens, you talk about moving investors, moving consumers, moving employees, but how do we move the identities in a beautiful way for the students, from just being a student to maybe a student activist, not only tasks, but they take roles, president of a student union, head of finances, head of marketing, or whatever,
Right.
into entrepreneurs, into conscious entrepreneurs. And my secret mission is to get from student to conscious community builders, because actually all NGOs, business, they are community buildings. So I'm run an incubator, so we've helped 50 plus companies and non-profits come, 20 new we have during the next 2 years. So my question to you is, what is INSEAD doing out of the classroom? So in particular, with the startup scene, I'm seeing our university changing and becoming different, because the incubator environment is not a classroom, it's a meeting place of minds and doing stuff. What are you doing in this field? And what do you see the future of these incubators and new universities?
Thank you. That's really such a great point. I love your dream. I love your dream, and I think that should be the dream of every educator. And whether you're working with executives or with young people, that's really fantastic. I want to say something, but I think Kajal might be better placed to address what is INSEAD doing, and I will complement what she wants to say. Do you want to talk about MSD or?
Yeah, so I think we agree on that, and we should do more. I think also for us, maybe, I mean, we're located in a forest at Fontainebleau. And it's always striking how we don't take our students to do sessions in the forest. Some faculty do it actually. Joanna is one of them, Popeshko. So both the forest and also the relationship to the body. So these are things that are coming in the classroom. What's important also from my point of view is that same thing, this is incorporated in the core, right, in the mandatory part of the learning. And so, for instance, in the class, which is a mandatory one on strategy at INSEAD, the students, we run a competition with them on a live case of a non-profit. And actually, Ridima is in the back here, as mentioned, to improve their impact. So it's a competition across the
It's called
450
MSD Master
Strategist Day. Ridima, raise your hand.
The buzz is amazing. Ridima is back in the room.
You talk to her after.
Talk to Ridima there in the back.
She does a fantastic job.
She's the one that leads this thing, this journey.
Yeah. So talk to her after. But that's the idea first, to try to compete.
Things, and we get the magic of capitalism. If you miss one of the two, you don't get capitalism. But we know that modern market theory said information is in prices. Markets give us prices. Those are the information we need. It's the most efficient information is price information. And then on incentives, they said property rights, private property rights. That's the incentive. And that's why, by the way, value capture comes before value creation. Private property rights are about value capture. If I can ensure your value capture, you will create value. You will be creative, hardworking, you will invest, etc., etc. This is how capitalism was built. Beautiful, fantastic. But we know that prices are efficient, but not sufficient. We need, I mean, what is the price of that fish? What is the price of families not being together because work is overwhelmed, or our diet is immoderate, or social diet and social media diet, etc. So prices are necessary but not sufficient. We need to complement that with reasoning. We can reason. We don't know the price of animal cruelty or the price of gender disparity. What is the price of gender disparity? What is the price of social exclusion? It's silly to put a price on that. What is the price of health? The Boeing planes that crashed, what is the price of those lives that the software was? It was a hastily released plane. We don't need to wait for prices. We can reason, but we need to reason morally. So please learn moral reasoning to complement prices, because we can't agree on the price of carbon, we can't agree on the discount rate. Prices, necessary, not sufficient, reasoning. The second thing on incentives, private property rights. I mean, I can't always give you a bonus for doing the right thing each time or promoting. We need to also think that we have moral roles, not just jobs. And when people are in role, they have power, they have discretionary power. So a doctor is not a job, a doctor is a role. A professor is not just a job, it's a role. A judge is not just a job, it's a role. A carpenter, a gardener, an accountant, these are jobs. They're not roles. Roles are jobs where people have discretionary power which is unobservable. A police officer, a president of a country, or minister, these are roles. It turns out that business leaders, entrepreneurs, these are also roles. We are training people in MBAs for functions and jobs. We need to start training them for roles, which is, I have a moral identity. I know that I have discretionary power. Which technology I will release, which business model. Yeah, I can make money, but if that's all, there are so many ways of making money. Why don't we kill people? Is fast. That's what they do in many countries with drug wars and etc. No. It's so reasoning and roles are the two complements to information and incentives, so that we can go not only in a world with more money, but also with more morality. We can be modern and moral. We can integrate this. Thank you all.